Imagine a nation that the world applauds as a beacon of democracy, progress, and peace. A nation celebrated for its culture, its innovation, its economic rise. Now imagine, thousands of miles above the Earth, American satellites piercing through the facade, uncovering secrets buried deep beneath the surface. Secrets so staggering, so meticulously hidden, that they challenge everything we thought we knew about that country. That nation is India, and the world is about to confront a truth it never anticipated. The discovery of India's terrifying secret begins not on the ground, but thousands of miles above it. American satellites, equipped with some of the most sophisticated imaging systems ever created, are capable of scanning vast territories and detecting anomalies invisible to the naked eye. These orbiting eyes in the sky do far more than snap pictures. They read heat signatures, map subterranean activity, and trace electromagnetic pulses that signal movement, construction, or weapons testing. When such technology was directed towards India, the results startled analysts. The images weren't just ordinary captures of terrain, infrastructure, or agricultural development. Instead, they revealed concealed installations in remote areas, activity patterns inconsistent with civilian use, and energy spikes associated with high-level military or nuclear projects. The shocking element wasn't simply that such sites existed, but that they were deliberately designed to stay out of sight from conventional surveillance methods. Buried facilities, camouflage structures, and even regions of manipulated environmental cover suggested a level of planning that indicated India's determination to shield its ambitions from the international community. Satellites detected new networks of roads leading to zones never officially documented, signals of underground testing chambers, and unexplained energy readings emanating from areas that, according to public records, should have been barren land. Analysts realized this wasn't a matter of routine defense expansion, but a deliberate architecture of secrecy. What makes these revelations even more unsettling is that satellite surveillance doesn't just uncover physical infrastructure, it provides insight into intent. The patterns of construction, the pace of expansion, and the proximity of these sites to known defense hubs paint a picture of a country that is not simply developing its capabilities, but racing towards something monumental. When American officials compared the timeline of satellite images, they noted a rapid acceleration over just a few years. Entire complexes seemed to rise from the Earth almost overnight, their scale and design hinting at operations beyond the scope of standard national security. Every heat signature, every unusual shadow cast on the satellite feed, raised further questions about what exactly was being prepared behind India's closed doors. When the satellite revelations were cross-referenced with ground intelligence, one of the most startling patterns was the sheer scale of India's military buildup. The country, often seen as a regional power, has in recent years been quietly transforming itself into a formidable military giant. Hidden from the eyes of casual observers, India has been accelerating its missile development programs, expanding its nuclear arsenal, and fortifying border zones with infrastructure that speaks less of defense and more of preparation for strategic dominance. The scale of new air bases, concealed missile silos, and underground bunkers indicates a military posture that is designed not only to protect, but to project power beyond its borders. Observers noticed that India is not just building more weapons, but investing in precision technology, hypersonic systems, and next-generation defense tools that put it in the league of the most advanced powers. This build-up has not been random or haphazard. It follows a clear blueprint, one that points towards long-term strategic objectives. The placement of missile sites in specific regions signals preparation for both deterrence and first-strike capability. The construction of fortified naval bases along its coastline suggests readiness for control over crucial shipping routes in the Indian Ocean, a waterway vital for global trade. Satellite images also revealed rapid modernization of air defense systems, with technology designed to counter both traditional aircraft and ballistic missiles. showing a layered approach to security. Each piece of this puzzle suggests that India has been crafting an integrated military machine, one that can operate simultaneously on land, at sea, and in the skies. Another element that raised alarm was the speed at which this build-up was happening. Historical military growth usually unfolds gradually, constrained by resources, political will, and international oversight. Yet in India's case, satellite data showed acceleration that seemed disproportionate to its declared defense budget. Entire missile complexes appeared in record time, training grounds expanded at twice the expected pace, and weapons testing increased in frequency, often conducted under the guise of routine exercises. It gave the impression of a nation racing against time, eager to secure a level of supremacy before rivals could catch up or the global community could intervene. The most unsettling part is that much of this build-up has remained unacknowledged publicly, creating a striking contrast between India's international image of peaceful development and the hidden reality of its military surge. What startled many observers when analyzing the satellite findings was not only the military aspect of India's rise, but also the extraordinary advancements in technology that underpin it. India, often perceived as a nation balancing development challenges with economic growth, has been quietly becoming a technological powerhouse. This transformation goes far beyond the visible markers of progress, like its booming IT sector or its celebrated space program. Satellite and cyber intelligence have revealed the scale of India's investments in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, cyber warfare capabilities, and space-based defense systems, all of which are crucial in the new era of global power. In an age where conflicts are as likely to be fought in digital domains as they are in physical battlefields, India's rapid ascent in these fields represents an unsettling advantage that most of the world had underestimated. One of the most striking elements is India's focus on dual-use technologies. These are innovations that can serve both civilian and military purposes, making them difficult for international observers to scrutinize or regulate. For example, satellite launches under the banner of communication or research often double as tests for delivery systems that could later be used for defense or even offensive capabilities. The sophistication of India's space research, powered by the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, and a rapidly expanding private tech ecosystem, indicates a nation preparing to dominate in orbital surveillance, satellite navigation, and even anti-satellite weaponry. These are not fringe pursuits, but core strategic assets that could give India unprecedented control over communication, surveillance, and military coordination. Beyond space, the rise of India's cyber capabilities has raised eyebrows among analysts. Satellites detected sprawling data centers and hidden facilities believed to house operations dedicated to cyber intelligence and electronic warfare. In a world increasingly dependent on digital infrastructure, the ability to disrupt networks, intercept communication, or paralyze systems is as powerful as conventional weapons, if not more. Coupled with advances in artificial intelligence, India is positioning itself at the frontier of technological warfare, where predictive algorithms, autonomous drones, and intelligent defense systems can shift the balance of power without a single soldier stepping onto the battlefield. The rapid scale of these innovations reveals that India is not just preparing for the future, it is attempting to define it, reshaping global perceptions of where true technological supremacy will lie. When the full implications of the satellite discoveries about India began to circulate within intelligence circles, the ripple effects extended far beyond regional politics and into the core of global power dynamics. Nations that once viewed India primarily as a growing economy and a diplomatic partner suddenly had to reconsider the balance of influence. The evidence of concealed military expansion, rapid technological breakthroughs, and covert infrastructure projects created unease among both allies and rivals. The global stage, already fractured by tensions between superpowers, was now confronted with the reality of another nation, quietly climbing into the top tier of influence, not through public declarations or treaties, but through hidden preparation and strategic secrecy. For China, the revelations carried an immediate sting. Locked in territorial disputes with India and vying for dominance in Asia, China recognized that India's secretive buildup was aimed at countering its regional influence. The possibility of India possessing advanced missile systems, cyber warfare capabilities, and fortified military outposts placed pressure on Beijing's strategic calculations. For Pakistan, the shock was even greater. As India's long-standing adversary, Pakistan had relied on its nuclear deterrence to maintain a fragile balance, but the scale of India's hidden military and technological advantage threatened to dismantle that equilibrium entirely. This raised the specter of an accelerated arms race in South Asia, a region already burdened by instability and historical mistrust. Western nations, particularly the United States and its European allies, were caught in a paradox. On one hand, they had long championed India as a democratic counterweight to authoritarian powers. On the other hand, the secrecy and speed of India's build-up suggested a nation willing to bypass international norms and act unilaterally to secure dominance. This revelation forced policymakers to ask whether India was still the partner they imagined, or whether it was quietly preparing to challenge the established order. Even nations distant from the subcontinent, like those in the Middle East or Africa, realized the implications as India's growing capabilities extended to securing trade routes, projecting influence across oceans, and reshaping the flow of global alliances. The shockwaves were not limited to governments alone, as financial markets, defense industries, and even global media began to recalibrate their narratives around India, no longer viewing it solely as an emerging economy, but as a hidden superpower reshaping the world order from behind a veil of secrecy. For decades, India has carefully cultivated an international image of being the world's largest democracy, a land of culture, diversity, innovation, and peaceful progress. The country's narrative has been one of balancing modernization with tradition, of lifting millions out of poverty while championing democratic values on the world stage. This image has been reinforced through its active role in international organizations, its booming film and technology industries, and its emphasis on soft power, presenting itself as a rising but responsible global player. Yet the discoveries from American satellite surveillance peeled away the surface, exposing a reality that does not perfectly align with the image India projects to the outside world. The hidden military installations, accelerated weapons development, and concealed cyber warfare programs present a portrait of a nation not merely striving for growth but preparing for dominance in ways that are deliberately kept from public knowledge. This contrast between appearance and reality creates unease because it blurs the line between aspiration and ambition. To its people and to much of the world, India presents itself as a nation focused on peace, cooperation, and development. But behind this mask lies a calculated push for supremacy, one that thrives in secrecy. The controlled narrative of being a peaceful democracy works well on global platforms, but the reality of concealed bases, rapid military expansion, and technological dominance indicates a leadership prepared to act unilaterally when the time comes. The contradiction is stark. A nation that speaks of global harmony while simultaneously building the tools of strategic intimidation. It is this duality that unsettles observers the most. When the global community looks at India, it sees a partner for trade, a hub for innovation, a counterbalance to more aggressive powers. But when satellites strip away the carefully crafted facade, the reality shows something far more complex, even alarming. The secrecy itself becomes the message, suggesting that India's leadership wants the world to underestimate its capabilities until it is too late to ignore them. By maintaining a peaceful public image while rapidly preparing behind the scenes, India has positioned itself to surprise both its allies and adversaries. This clash between the story India tells and the reality uncovered raises difficult questions about trust, transparency, and the nature of power in the modern world. The revelations brought forward by satellite surveillance force the world to confront a pressing dilemma. Should India's rise be admired as a remarkable success story or feared as a hidden threat with unpredictable consequences? On one side, there is undeniable admiration for a nation that has lifted millions out of poverty, developed an advanced space program on a modest budget, and established itself as a leading center of science and technology. The democratic framework, vibrant culture, and emphasis on education paint a picture of progress that stands in sharp contrast to authoritarian powers seeking dominance through coercion. For many, India represents hope. A country that proves democracy and development can coexist even in a challenging environment. Yet when the curtain is pulled back, the same achievements appear less like milestones of peaceful advancement and more like stepping stones toward a carefully concealed ambition for supremacy. The unsettling part of this dilemma is that India's hidden strength is not merely defensive. Satellites captured signs of projects that suggest offensive capabilities, from advanced missile systems to cyber programs capable of destabilizing foreign networks. If these are indeed being developed behind a veil of secrecy, then the narrative of peaceful progress begins to erode, replaced by an image of calculated preparation for dominance. Allies that once looked to India as a stabilizing partner are forced to ask whether they are supporting a nation that shares their values or enabling a power that could one day turn against the established order. Rivals, meanwhile, must decide whether to accelerate their own military expansions in response, potentially sparking a regional or even global arms race. This tension leaves the global community grappling with how to interpret India's trajectory. Is this the story of a nation finally claiming its rightful place on the world stage? Or is it the emergence of a new giant that has deliberately cloaked its ambitions to avoid scrutiny until it was ready to reveal its strength? The question lingers because the evidence points in both directions, and the truth may be that India embodies both possibilities at once. To admire its rise is to celebrate human achievement, but to ignore the hidden reality is to risk being blindsided by a force that has been building silently behind the scenes. What the satellites have revealed is more than infrastructure, more than weapons, more than hidden technology. They have revealed intent. They have exposed the duality of a nation that smiles on the world stage while quietly preparing for a future of dominance. India's terrifying secret is not just in its bunkers, its missiles, or its cyber labs. It lies in the question it forces upon us all. Do we applaud its rise as the triumph of democracy, or do we brace ourselves for a superpower that has chosen shadows over transparency? The answer to that question will decide not only India's future, but the future of global power itself.